So, Al, if someone had told me even a week ago that you and I would be having a conversation about Bad Bunny, I would have had a hard time believing it. Actually, it was a couple years ago I first learned about Bad Bunny um, from my stepson, but that's a whole other story. I guess what astounds me, I'm going to kick this off and just say what astounds me is that my observation of presidents of the United States consistently is that they're careful about what they wade into and the decisions that they make because they've got a lot of weighty topics to cover. They don't need to go looking for more. For President Trump to impose himself on the National Football League decision for the halftime show struck me as odd to begin with. The NFL itself said this is a controversial decision, but it's one meant to bring people together. It was all the right reasons they did it. They did it with an individual who's from Puerto Rico, an American, somebody who's the streams more than I think any other entertainer at the current rates around the world, and yet Donald Trump decides to take him on. I don't get it, and starts with this ridiculous phrase. Well, nobody knew what he was talking about. When I think it's around 60 million Americans actually speak Spanish. Not to mention that we don't seem to critique Italian opera because we don't speak Italian. Anyway, I don't know what you make of it. I was just confounded by the whole thing over the weekend and all day on Monday.
If I ever tried to figure out Trump, I mean, I have no idea what he's thinking. But if he wanted the message, it was printed right at the end of the show, where with the big banner that said, "The only thing more powerful than hate is love," when he was marching out with an American flag. So, uh, but first of all, I'm not of the Bad Bunny generation either. I can't remember when I first learned of him, but I think he hosted Saturday Night Live. But unlike most people, when I watch Saturday Night Live, I just watch the opening because it's usually a pretty good parody on what was going on in the week. And Weekend Update, I don't watch anything else. But anyway, Bad Bunny hosted it one time, so I've heard of him. But in that kind of music is probably not my forte. But I just watched it again, and it's happy, joyous, and Trump comes out with this hateful, bigoted, uh, you know, uh, post on True Social, and there's an interesting piece in the almost defunct Washington Post that said Republicans are really baffled because about how to proceed in the midterms because they're slipping and the place they're looking to is not helping, which is the White House. And you think about this, uh, Texas just did a redistricting, and it counted on winning Hispanic votes to create more Republican districts. Uh, my guess is that's not going to be the case. And this follows the post he did last I think Friday, where he had a meme of the Obamas, president and former first lady, as monkeys, and he wouldn't back down. I mean, it just I I guess I just don't know what he's up to.
In another era, you would say that anybody who was doing this was engaging in some sort of dirty tricks to reduce constituents' votes segment by segment by segment. I checked the numbers. I was curious. When Donald Trump spoke at his inaugural, they say the audience was about 24.5 million people. 125 million people watched the Super Bowl. So why he chooses to engage in such a hateful way, when I agree with you, it was a different kind of entertainment, but it was one of joy and happiness and bringing people together. And not the entire show was not in Spanish. And if you actually wanted to get a translation, you could get a near real time translation of what was in the show. So I don't know. I can't figure it out, but I think he is posing a greater and greater problem for the members of his own party, even when he decides to step out of what might be thought of as the normal realm of presidential decision making.
Craig, I spent a lot of time on the Hill, and I was on the Hill during Watergate. Uh, and I know, we both know a lot of members of Congress. To be honest with you, in an ordinary time, I think after what he's done these in the last 4 days, there would be impeachment resolutions introduced in the Congress. Just on Twitter, right after he did the Obama meme, I just did a tweet, and let me just say my followers aren't many, and they've decreased dramatically after the election because as the algorithms were changed around. But I suggested that Trump be censured, that there ought to be some accountability for this kind of behavior from the president. And, and I think a lot of it actually, I must say I had a partisan angle to it because I said it's really up to Republicans. They've really, for most of his rants over the last really 10 years, they've sort of said, well, we didn't see it, never answered. And I suggest that this time he ought to be held accountable. For a normal tweet, I'll get 400, 500 hits. For this one, I got 23,000. And I don't understand the system, and I don't understand how things go viral. And that is not a really going viral number. But for somebody like me, it's an awful lot. So my guess is a lot of people reacted, that we are that say, this is just not acceptable. And I can't believe that somebody is going to pay at the polls, even though Trump obviously will never run again, but he's going to cost probably a lot of good people their jobs.
I think that's true. The other thing I worry about, I know you and I have both seen this played out by both parties, frankly, is this notion on the Hill that, well, wait a minute, they did that to us, so we're going to do it to them. And this current effort to, pull the Clintons into this investigation, to go after those people who dislike Trump, boy, when the tables turn, it's going to be very hard to convince the people in charge, Democrats in charge, that they should not go after the world of Donald Trump and his sons. And they're leaving so many issues out there for people to pursue. This money making quest is just beyond anything we've seen. So it's unfortunate, and it's going to tie up a lot of time. And I don't know. There's a lot of serious things that have to get taken care of. Bad Bunny, I think, will go away after this weekend, perhaps, at least in the Trump world. He'll go on to greater things, I'm sure, because more people than ever saw him as a result of Trump's, comments.
You and I both worked for presidents who were bigger than their party. And we need a president who is bigger than his or her party. I mean, and the results, for both of us, basically, Ronald Reagan changed the Republican Party and gave it a pretty good period of success. Trump really rode on that, but he's destroying it. And, Bill Clinton changed the Republican or the Democratic Party dramatically. We had lost 5 or 6 presidential elections, and up until the last presidential election, we won, I think, 7 of 8 popular votes for president since. So I think people will respond with presidents who are bigger than their party, and I hope that as people think about running in 2028, they'll think about that, and they won't fall into the kind of politics that Trump has sort of dragged us down into, and that too many people are following.
I hope so too, and that's probably a good note to leave on. I'll see you later in the week.
Yep. Take care.
Take care.